Hello there, and welcome back to my series Vocal Function 101. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the filter, also known as the resonator. These are the magical spaces in your vocal tract. Yep, I am talking about the pharynx that shape your sound in incredible ways. But wait, before we think this is just another lecture on classical singing, think again. I'm bringing you a contemporary commercial twist on this topic. So buckle up, warm up those voices, and let's explore how your vocal tract can make or break your sound. Let's go. All right, before we dive in, let's get on the same page about the pharynx. What is it, you ask? Well, it's basically the VIP lounge of your vocal tract. This space extends behind your tongue and your nasal cavity all the way down to your larynx and esophagus. And guess what? It's the superstar responsible for adding that luscious depth and resonance to your sound. Here's the deal. Bigger space equals more depth and resonance. Think words like warm, open, and dark. Ah. Smaller space equals less depth and resonance. Here we're talking bright, pingy, or speechy. Ah. But let's be clear about one thing. Resonance isn't something you make happen. It's more like a happy side effect of vocal freedom and a well-balanced, developed sound. If you want to geek out more about balanced and free sound, check out my other videos on vocal function. All right, now let's break it down and explore the three pharyngeal spaces and their divisions. Ready? Let's go. The pharynx, aka your vocal tract shape-shifting superstar, can be divided into three sections. The laryngopharynx. This is the pharynx's backstage area, chilling closest to the larynx. The oropharynx, the main stage, this section sits right behind your oral cavity. The nasopharynx, the airy penthouse of your pharynx located behind your nasal cavity. Today, we're diving into the muscles that transform these spaces, giving you endless ways to color your sound. Think of it as your vocal artist's palette, ready to paint those gorgeous tones. All right, let's get started and explore how to fine-tune your pharynx for maximum resonance. But just keep in the back of your head, resonance is a byproduct of efficient vocal function. Here we go. All right, let's talk about the extrinsic muscles of the larynx. There's a lot going on here, but don't worry, I've got you covered. Remember the hyoid bone? That little bone is a total rock star because most of these muscles attach to it, either from above or below. Muscles attaching above the hyoid are called the suprahyoid muscles. These are like the elevators of the larynx, lifting it up. Muscles attaching below the hyoid are the infrahyoid muscles. These are the down-to-earth crew, lowering or depressing the larynx. But here's the key. When you're singing, you don't want to force your larynx to rise or fall. It's not a manual job. Instead, it's the teacher's job to design exercises that naturally guide these movements so your voice stays free and balanced. All right, now let's break it down further and look at the individual players in these muscle groups. Let's go. The geniohyoid muscle. Let's shine a spotlight on this bad boy. It's a small but mighty paired muscle in your vocal tract. The geniohyoid muscle lives in the penthouse suite of your neck anatomy. It sits just above the mylohyoid and stretches from the inside of your chin down to your hyoid bone. Think of it as a direct elevator from your chin and the hyoid bone. What does it do? It lifts and moves the hyoid forward. So the geniohyoid is like a VIP chauffeur for the hyoid bone, pulling it up and slightly forward. This is essential for swallowing, singing, and even speaking. It also assists in opening the jaw. So when your jaw drops during a dramatic high note, this muscle is part of the team helping to make that happen. Pretty cool, right? Alrighty, let's give a big round of applause to the stylohyoid muscle. This elegant little muscle is really like the diva of your neck anatomy. Graceful, stylish, and always lifting things up. That's a terrible pun. All right, the stylohyoid muscle stretches from the styloid process, a bony point near your ear, down to the hyoid bone. Picture it like a beautiful ribbon connecting your skull to the hyoid, adding a touch of flair to your vocal anatomy. What does it do? Lifts and pulls the hyoid bone back. Think of the stylohyoid as the ultimate hype muscle for the hyoid. It gently raises and retracts, creating just the right space for swallowing and singing. Oh, so cool. Right, let's break down the last of the suprahyoid muscles, the digastric muscle, a fascinating two-bellied muscle that's like the multitasking ninja of your neck. It's so cool. All right, so where is it? The digastric muscle has two bellies. Pretty fancy, right? Connected by intermediate tendon. So you got the anterior belly. This part starts at the digastric fossa of the mandible inside of your chin. The posterior belly, that bad boy begins at the mastoid process, that bony bump behind your ear. The two bellies meet at the intermediate tendon, which is attached to the hyoid bone. Imagine it like a little pulley system. All right, what does it do? It elevates the hyoid bone. When the digastric muscle contracts, it lifts the hyoid bone, which helps during, what do you think? Swallowing and singing. Think of it as giving your voice box a little boost. Pretty cool, right? Alrighty, just a quick little overview. I also love this picture so much of all the suprahyoid muscles. Oh, it's just beautiful. All right, so reminder, all the suprahyoid muscles are the larynx's personal elevator crew, responsible for lifting it up, up, up. But why does this matter for singing? Well, when the larynx is elevated, it shortens the length of the pharynx. And what does a shorter pharynx mean? Less resonating space, a brighter sound quality. So this setup is the secret sauce for creating that belt aesthetic. Crisp, powerful, and oh so efficient for contemporary styles. All right, now let's flip the script and talk about the infrahyoid muscles. So these muscles are like the chill squad of the neck, responsible for lowering or depressing the larynx. So let's see what kind of magic these bring to your vocal game. Here we go. The omohyoid muscle. It's a two-bellied muscle with a connective tendon in the middle, kind of like a neck version of a bowstring. It connects the upper belly to the hyoid bone, the lower belly to the scapula, so your shoulder blade. A fun fact, its name comes from omo, Greek for shoulder, and hyoid. So it's basically your shoulder to hyoid muscle. What does it do? There's going to be a theme here. It lowers the hyoid and the larynx. The omohyoid is part of the infrared hyoid team, helping depress the hyoid and the larynx. This creates a longer pharyngeal space, giving you those, some people describe them as richer, more resonant, more open, dark tones. It keeps the neck in check as well. It helps stabilize the hyoid bone and maintain balance in your neck area, which is crucial for vocal efficiency and freedom. Let's introduce the sternothyroid muscle, the low-key powerhouse of the neck, quietly doing its job to keep your vocal game on check. Where is it? The sternothyroid muscle runs a direct route from the sternum, your chest bone, to the thyroid cartilage, that shield that forms the front of your larynx. It's like the muscle highway connecting your chest to your voice box. Now, what does it do? It lowers the thyroid cartilage and the larynx. This muscle is part of the infrahyoid squad, pulling the larynx down and elongating the pharynx. More space equals deeper, richer, more open, darker tonal qualities. It also balances your larynx. It helps create stability so you can transition between vocal registers smoothly, like gliding from a lush low note to a really bright high one. So cool. All right, let's talk about the sternohyoid muscle. This straight shooting, no nonsense muscle that keeps your larynx grounded. Where is it? You're going to notice a theme. The names come from where the muscle attaches. So the sternohyoid muscle runs in a straight line, kind of like another highway of your neck, from the sternum, so your breastbone, all the way up to your hyoid bone. It's part of the infrared squad, working hard to keep things balanced below your chin. Think of it as the anchor that helps keep your vocal ship steady. What does it do? Here's another theme. It lowers the hyoid bone and the larynx. The sternohyoid gently pulls the hyoid and larynx downward, elongating the pharynx. So here again, it's going to help with those deeper, richer, more open sounds because the resonating space is much bigger. A really important thing that this guy does also, it helps with swallowing. It makes sure the hyoid gets out of the way when it's chow time. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the thyrohyoid muscle, the multitasking muscle that's always ready to lift or lower as the situation demands. Yes, this one is a little bit special. So, where is it? The thyrohyoid is like the ultimate connector. It bridges the gap between the thyroid cartilage, it's that shield-like structure at the front of your larynx, and the hyoid bone, the superstar bone at the base of your tongue, right here. Think of it as the neck muscle that's always on call to get things moving. What does it do? All right, it lifts the larynx. So when it contracts, it pulls the thyroid cartilage closer to the hyoid, which shortens the pharynx and can help create more brighter, more, I guess you can say, focused, pingy sounds. And then what's really cool about this muscle is that it also lowers the hyoid bone. So depending on what's needed, it can also pull the hyoid down, helping elongate the pharynx for those richer, warmer, more open, darker tones. It's really like a musical shapeshifter adjusting to your vocal needs. All right, we just wrapped up the extrinsic laryngeal muscles, the height control pros of the larynx. They're like the next elevator operators deciding whether to send the larynx up for a brighter sound or down for a richer sound. Remember, a lot of these muscles are very important for swallowing, and also take note that anytime you try to actually activate these muscles, it's not possible. All of this stuff happens indirectly. You never can manipulate any of these muscles, all right? Okay, now let's dive into the pharynx's muscles, the constrictor muscles. These are the movers and shapers of the pharynx, wrapping snugly around the back like a cozy scarf. They're responsible for changing its width or circumference if you're feeling fancy. Also incredibly important for swallowing. So imagine these muscles giving your vocal tract kind of like a big bear hug. It's pretty cool. Check out this picture to see where these amazing muscles live and work their magic. Okay, let's keep going. Things are about to get even more fascinating. The constrictor muscles are the muscle squad that wraps around the back of your pharynx, each one adjusting the width and circumference of the space. So they work in layers like a big pharyngeal hug. The superior, middle, and inferior constrictor muscles contract one by one to aid in swallowing. Now, a majority of my job as a singing teacher is to make sure that these muscles are not coming up to bat too often, but there is a time and place for everything. All right, so let's meet the team. So the superior constrictor muscle is at the top of the pharynx, wrapping around the upper part of the throat. Think of it like the first layer of defense, helping to create a smooth, controlled flow for your air and sounds as it passes through the pharynx. It's in charge of narrowing the pharynx at the top. You can see in the side view picture that the superior constrictor muscle is attached to the back of the mandible. The middle constrictor muscle brings the teamwork energy by working with the superior constrictor to adjust the width of the pharynx in the middle section. You can see in the side view that this muscle is attached to the hyoid bone. The inferior constrictor muscle wraps around the bottom of the pharynx, and when it contracts, it tightens the bottom part. You can see that it's attached directly to the larynx. So I hope you are getting the bigger picture that all of these pieces are highly connected and greatly affect one another on a consistent basis. All right, folks, we are down to the final two VIPs of today's vocal journey. These are the rock stars, sometimes nicknamed the pharyngeal interrupters or sound directors. Who are they? The soft palate and the epiglottis. These two are the movers and shakers of your pharynx, always on the go. Take a look at this picture. If either one decides to shimmy, slide, or shift even a little bit, they completely change the direction and flow of the sound zooming through your pharynx. But wait, there's more. Let's take a closer look at these two MVPs and explore how their moves can transform the quality of your sound. Oh, buckle up, it's about to get fascinating. All right, let's talk about the soft palate, your vocal tracts bouncer, deciding who gets into the nasal club or stays in the oral lounge. Wow, that's just a terrible analogy, but there it is. Okay, so where is it? The soft palate, aka the velum, hangs out at the back of the roof of your mouth, right behind the hard palate. So if you take your tongue and drag it, you'll hit like a hard ridge and then it automatically becomes a little soft. That's where your soft palate is. It's like the VIP section divider of your mouth and throat, ready to shift gears at a moment's notice. I like to call it the nose gate. It aids in swallowing by first lifting to block the nasal cavity and then connecting tightly to the back of the tongue to guide food down the esophagus. It's just so cool. But what does it do in terms of phonation? Well, nasal resonance. I'm sure you've heard of that. When the soft palate chills out and lowers, it opens up the back door to your nasal cavity. This is what gives you those vibrant, kind of buzzy, nasalized consonants, like when you hum or say, mmm. It's perfect for certain singing styles and speech sounds, but reminder, the nasal cavity is really not a great resonator, which is why we try to avoid it. But again, there is always a time and place for everything. I use nasality as a strengthening tool, for example, but singing through your nose is never the end product. Secondly, the nasal resonance has no relationship with being bright, charactery, edgy, or brassy. That's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. It might feel that way, but this is a representation of inaccurate body mapping, so make sure your teacher is being very clear with their language in a lesson. All right, oral resonance. When the soft palate rises up, it closes off the nasal passage like a soundproof curtain. This redirects all the airflow and sound into your mouth, creating clear, focused, and powerful oral sounds. Ah, 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 ah. I can tell the difference between the two. One's going through my nose, one is not. It's great for basically all genres, but specifically belting, legit singing, all that stuff. So now let's look at the muscles that help us make those brassy, edgy, trumpety sounds. All right, here we go. The airy epiglottic muscle. Woo! It's like the gatekeeper of your larynx. All right, so where is it? It's a ring of muscles and tissues located at the top of your larynx, connecting the arytenoid cartilages and the epiglottis. So basically, it's chilling at the entrance to your vocal folds, if you kind of want to think about it that way. So what does it do? First and foremost, when it contracts, it pulls the epiglottis down, narrows the opening to your larynx, and this helps protect your airway when you swallow. Yes. Now, in singing, it can create that epic, brassy, or trumpety sound, often used in musical theater or pop styles. So this is gonna be loud. If you want to really exaggerate it, it's kind of like the Aflac duck. Aflac! It's really, really edgy and really brassy. Very different from nasality. Totally different. So the benefits include higher perceived volume level with lower vocal effort. So be careful. Too much engagement in this area could cause too much narrowing of the pharynx, which can cause a ripple effect to the shape of the rest of the pharynx. Have fun with that sound. It's super, super cool. All right, folks, we are down to one big concept, the swallow reflex. Yep, the same reflex that keeps you alive also loves to stir up drama when it comes to singing. So first, let's appreciate the VIP survival here. Swallowing. Humans swallow a whopping 500 to 700 times a day. That makes the swallow reflex one powerful built-in bodyguard. It's designed to keep food and drinks out of your lungs. So think it the next time you enjoy a snack without choking. But here's where things get tricky for singers. The vocal folds are one of your lungs' first lines of defense. When they close to protect you during swallowing, it triggers a whole body chain reaction through your vocal tract. The jaw clamps down, the tongue retracts, the soft palate lifts and drops, constrictor muscles engage, vocal folds and epiglottis lock down, the larynx lifts and drops to smoothly guide food into your esophagus. It's really, really cool. Except none of this drama is helpful when you're trying to sing freely. All that tension can turn your voice into let's say a stressed out mess. So as a voice teacher, my job is to help you tame the swallow reflex one step at a time. By teaching you how to disengage these reflexes, we can unlock vocal freedom and bring balance to your vocal function. It's like rewriting your body to chill out and let your voice do its thing. So let's keep working on that tension-free, glorious sound, shall we? All right, my friends, we've officially hit the final note of our deep dive into resonance. From the pharynx's 3 VIP spaces to the superstars of the soft palate and the epiglottis and the unsung heroes like the constrictor muscles and the swallow reflex, resonance isn't just a concept, it's a full-blown team effort. Think of your voice as a beautifully crafted instrument with every space, muscle, and reflex working together to shape your unique sound. And the best part, you get to be both the player and the engineer, fine-tuning every detail to create the music you want to share with the world. So get out there, experiment, explore, and have fun with your voice. Remember, it's not just about getting the perfect sound. It's about embracing the journey, learning to balance all these moving parts, and letting your authentic voice shine. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. Now go make some magic with your sound waves.